Debbie told yesterday how she'd received a sickening message from someone telling her to kiss goodbye to your son. She told ITN, "I got a Snapchat about 10 minutes after I got off the plane saying kiss goodbye to your boy. You're never going to see him again. He owes me a lot of money."
What happened to Jay Slater? Was he murdered? And if he was, what was the motive? Why would somebody want to hurt him? Did he owe someone money? Or did he upset somebody by stealing their watch? Was he set up by his friends? Or is Ayub Kasim involved in this in any way? And does he know about the Rolex watch? Or is he involved in that in any way? There's so many questions that need to be answered, but the Spanish police don't seem to want to answer them. We had Mark Williams Thomas, the private detective from England. It seemed like he was on the right track, and now all of a sudden he's disappeared. Could this even have been a revenge attack for what had happened with Jay years ago with a group of friends in a machete attack? All these questions need to be answered, but the Spanish police don't seem to be interested. Why is that? Is it because if there's a murder case in their country, that people will be scared to travel there, tourists will be worried, they'll start losing money, and is that the reason why there's been no witnesses that have come forward? Nobody has been talking, nobody at all. How strange is that, guys? It's as if the people in the area were told not to talk about this case when asked anything about it. Now, why was everybody shut down? Why were people not allowed to talk? Usually in any missing case, there'd be witnesses that would come forward, they would be talking on the news, they'd be saying what they saw. There was no sightings, there was nothing. And isn't it strange, like how we talked about in the last video, about how they stopped the search and then all of a sudden he turned up 29 days later? Well, they've definitely put out some sort of ridiculous narrative about what really happened to Jay. You see, the thing is, I find it hard to believe anything that they're telling us. And why is that? Because none of it makes sense. Everything is illogical. Like him going in the wrong direction, towards his hotel. That doesn't make sense, especially considering it's already 11 hours away. You see, guys, it seems like this is a cover-up, but they haven't covered it up that well. And considering that his body was near where his phone pinged, you would have thought that they would have found him a lot sooner anyway. Surely there would have been a stench coming from his body. Loads of flies above him. Surely the dogs would have picked something up, if his body was decomposing out there in that heat. Now, why is it that there were no clues, and why was he not found before? Is it because he was never there while they were searching? And is it because he was put there afterwards? You see, guys, this reminds me of the Nicola Bulley case, of when they couldn't find her and then all of a sudden she turned up in exactly the same place where they already had searched, and not far at all from the distance of where her phone was left on the bench. It's like the authorities or the murderers are basically planting the body there afterwards, So for example, the authorities will have this narrative, they'll have their hypothesis about how somebody fell somewhere, and then all of a sudden a few weeks later somebody will put the body there, so it will look like the body was there all that time. I mean, this is ridiculous. Why is it all of a sudden so many people have become so clumsy and people keep falling over and hurting themselves and drowning, etc., etc.? Maybe the police should just start doing their jobs properly. They should start investigating these cases properly. Treat them as suspicious, because they are suspicious, Jay being taken all the way up to a mountainous area. Why would he be taken there? What's the reason for that? And why did Ayub Kasim have an Airbnb booked? Why did he have it in such an area, so far away from where the party scene is? Is it because he knows that it's going to be quiet there in the night or in the early hours of the morning, so that he can do what he wants to do? You see, guys, Ayub Kasim and his friend, the unknown friend, just seem so suspicious to me. Just Ayub with his comments, like what we talked about in the previous video, about how he came alive and left alive. Nobody asked him about if he was alive or not. They just asked him, where is Jay? Where did you last see him? When did you last speak to him? You see, Ayub does not do himself any favors whatsoever. Why would he book himself the Airbnb in a different name? He's on holiday. He's just gone there to have fun. Surely he's used a different name because he's trying to hide something, because he's up to something. Otherwise, why would he do that? Just the fact that he's used a different name and the place that he's booked, the hotel or the Airbnb, the location of it in a mountainous region, where it's very quiet, where somebody could easily fall over. It's almost like this is all a setup and that Ayub and his friend have planned it all. Why would they do that? Are they friends with the person who got hurt in the machete attack as well? Are they connected somehow? You see, there's a lot of possibilities what could have been the motive, and if Ayub Kasim is involved, what motivated him to commit this crime. You see, this is the police's job, but they're not doing their job. And then they blame social media and online sleuths. They'll say things like, oh, they shouldn't be speculating and stuff like that. They shouldn't be talking about the case. Well, I'm sorry, but the mainstream media are guilty of speculating more than anyone. You see, they're always trying to shut these cases down. They're always trying to keep people quiet. They don't want people to find the truth. Now, what are they hiding? Now, going back to Ayub Kasim, he said that he knew Jay Slater through friends. Now, which friends is he talking about? Could he be talking about Lucy Law? You see, when you look at Jay's Instagram account, most of his pictures are with Lucy. That's his best friend. You see, they're not being clear even with their story, and they keep changing their story. Like what we just talked about. At first, Ayub Kasim said that he didn't even know Jay, and then all of a sudden he apparently loosely knew him through friends. Does he know him through friends, or did he meet him that night? Did he set up Jay, or was he involved in any way? And why has the unnamed person not come forward? Who is he? Why is it such a mystery? Who was Ayub Kasim with that night when they took Jay to their Airbnb? Guys, all of these questions need to be asked and investigated properly, but they're not doing it. Is this case gonna go unsolved? And will Jay ever get justice?